Give us a home. How about that? How about just giving people that need a home inside? Then we'd be inside. You just want to just throw us to the rats.
So let me get this straight. The press secretary today said that any homeless person in Washington, D.C. that refuses to go to a homeless shelter will face fines and prison time.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Messi Oba. How was your day? I hope your day went well. Okay, so yesterday when I was on my TikTok, I came across this video, then I decided to share it on my YouTube. Have you heard that all the homeless people in Washington, D.C. will face a fine if they refuse to go to homeless shelter? So guys, I want to leave you guys to watch this video and drop your comments at the comment section. I will be right back.
So let me get this straight. The press secretary today said that any homeless person in Washington, D.C. that refuses to go to a homeless shelter will face fines and prison time. Let me say that again, just in case y'all didn't hear me. A homeless person will face fines. They're homeless. With what money? So you want to put a homeless person in debt because they refuse to go to a place that's probably worse than living on the street, rather than supporting these people, rather than not stripping them of programs that probably would have kept them afloat. You want to prosecute these people for what the government has failed to do, and that's support them. Make that make sense. A lot of these homeless people are veterans. A lot of these homeless people are probably like the millions of Americans who are one paycheck away from being homeless. They just so happen to miss that paycheck. The lack of compassion and empathy from this White House is grotesque.
Homeless people aren't scum, criminals, or savages. They are human beings.
I need you to hear this. Today, the president said that Washington, D.C. will be liberated. He went on to say that crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. Disappear in all capital letters. This is propaganda 101. Politicians use words like filth and scum. History has showed us time and time again that they're talking about actual people, real human beings. And in this case, they're talking about our homeless population. Our administration is trying to turn its citizens against the homeless population. It is trying to change the thought process in your mind to view people who are without a home as filth, scum, criminals, and savages. That's exactly what that was. But see, here's the truth. Becoming homeless is shockingly easy. One horrific medical diagnosis, a job loss, a rent hike that you can't afford are just a few things that could lead you or your neighbor to be sleeping on the street. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, that would never happen to me because I could just go to so-and-so's house, that's called privilege. Privilege is not a bad thing if you recognize that you might have it and someone else might not. Because someone doesn't have family to go to, are they now savages, criminals, filth, and scum? It is not a crime to lose your home. It is not savagery to need help. And the homelessness in the United States is because of a broken system, not a filthy person. Propaganda posts like this prime people to see their neighbors, the most vulnerable homeless population, as a group of people that need to disappear. a group of people that need to be eliminated. That propaganda paves the way for people to be cruel and mean towards a group of people that need kindness and compassion. And I am over this dehumanizing language. You need to push back on that. Calling homeless people savages and filth? Are you kidding me? We need to be speaking out to remind our leaders and ourselves that kindness and policy that is grounded in dignity is the only way to help our homeless population. If you see someone struggling on the street, your first thought should not be scum. It should be, how can I help my neighbor? Love thy neighbor.
Homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time.
So I've worked in 2 shelters. I worked in a youth shelter and I worked in an adult shelter as a case manager and as a housing navigator. I've also stayed in a shelter. And I want to talk about how when she says that they are going to transport people experiencing homelessness to shelters, otherwise they're going to face fines or be arrested, how being transported to a shelter is actually not a viable option. First of all, there is no way that they have enough beds to house all of these people. How do I know this? Because under ordinary circumstances, when this isn't happening in DC, we did not have enough beds. There were days where it was snowing and we had to turn people away knowing that if they had to sleep outside, they were probably gonna die. And if you're trans, your options are to either go to a shelter that corresponds with your sex assigned at birth, if they'll let you in, or to find a gender-affirming shelter, which there are so few of, that if you do finally find one, the chances that they have a bed are so slim. Second, a lot of these folks are already banned from shelters because of their declining mental health or their substance use. And newsflash, when you are living on the streets and you have no protection and society does not care about what happens to you, you use substances to try to stay awake. Also, did you know that you can get kicked out of a shelter for someone else trying to fight you? I have seen people that have had notes from work that says that they are going to be back to the shelter outside of shelter hours, which is policy for shelters to be able to accept this and save their bed. And those people have had their belongings bagged up and their beds given away. And let's say you do finally get a bed in the shelter. Now you are surrounded by people that have mental health and substance use issues, and we do not have enough case managers, housing navigators, therapists. We don't have the funding, we don't have the resources, we don't have the employees. People get their stuff stolen all the time. There are bed bugs, there are rats, there's feces. I have seen all of this firsthand. The general public has no idea how these shelters actually function. And I really need you to hear me when I say this. Them saying that these folks will be given the option to relocate to these shelters is just a way for them to make it seem less inhumane than it is.
So President Donald Trump has declared martial law in Washington, D.C. against the homeless and has deployed over 1,000 federal agents to help assist in cleaning up the streets in Washington, D.C., saying that he wants to bring the city back to the beautifulness that it once was. And because of the homeless people, crime rates have soared through the roof. You know, here's my input on the whole thing about homeless people are driving the crime rate up. Homeless people aren't the only ones who commit crimes. Homeless people are not walking around with cell phones. Homeless people are not walking around with firearms. Homeless people really don't have the means to really commit crimes. I'm not saying they're not able to commit a crime. What I'm saying is that they don't actually have the means to commit crimes. Majority of the crimes are committed by people in households, people who live in a nice household, in a nice area. Those are the ones who's committing crimes. So to sit there and put these people down, knowing that they're already going through enough, You guys know how embarrassing it is to be homeless? Those people that are homeless are somebody. They was once a businessman, a businesswoman. They once had a regular job, just like you and I. They once had a life. Some of those people were married in the military. Some of those people that's homeless are freaking veterans, man, that's living on the streets. And now, to add insult to injury, you're going to televise them being removed just for more public attention, to bring more stress and more humiliation to a situation that's already stressful and humiliated enough. I think that is diabolical. I think that there's other ways to do that. We have bigger crimes going on in this country to be worried about homeless people sleeping on the streets of Washington, D.C. What about the homeless people that sleep on the streets of Texas, Indiana, Michigan, Detroit, Alabama, Arkansas? What about all these other people, man, that's homeless? Your only goal is to clean up the streets of Washington? For what? It's not going to make a difference, man. So let's just say if they are on the streets of Washington committing crimes, so you're going to put them in another city where they can commit more crimes and drive the crime rate up even higher in that city and state? Make it make sense to me, man. I'm just saying.
Video, I want to speak about the homelessness. Yeah, we got a homeless population in D.C., just like most major cities got a homeless population, right? It's been there for years, man. Most homeless people, you know, you'll be surprised about the characteristics of homeless people. I done went out and fed them and clothed them and did like that in my charity endeavors here in Washington, D.C. But one thing you got to understand about a lot of home people, first and foremost, a lot of them are veterans. A huge lot of them for veterans. So for him to aim at the veteran, at the homeless population like that, it's surprising to me that a lot of veterans that claim to be unified hasn't spoke up against what he's doing to homeless veterans that served for this country. And you treating them in the way you are in the nation capital. So I thought I'd just do a special video for the homeless, man, because I went out and fed them. A lot of them are prideful. Now, you think a homeless person's like a bagger or something like that? Nah, a lot of them not like that. A lot of them got pride. They don't want anything from you. They just want their space. And a lot of them are very, very, very respectful. You know what I mean? A lot of them are truly good people. They just unfortunate circumstances. Some, you know, probably went left or right for the experiences they had through serving. But, you know, it's a huge population in D.C. And he just gutting them, man, and threatening to jail them, lock them up. And I ain't heard none of the unified veterans standing up for this call. Where y'all at? Go down in the comment and prove me wrong.
According to the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans, 7% of the adult population in the United States of America can claim being a veteran. However, 13% of adult unhoused people are veterans. Right now, Trump is deploying the National Guard in D.C. to clear the unhoused people from the streets. Being unhoused or homeless is not a crime. Veterans end up homeless because of lack of access to health care, affordable housing, PTSD that is compounded by substance abuse, a lack of mental health resources while in service. People are painted into a corner and have to join the military in order to go to college, to have benefits, to be able to afford anything for their families. And for context, why I care about this at all, my dad has been a doctor for the VA for 30 years, and I have listened to him talk about the state that these vets are in when they come back, about how hard it is for them to get any adequate care. A vicious cycle begins of overprescribing opiates and then putting them back into a system, whether it be homelessness or the prison system or back into the military, and very many of them never break out of it. I have always had a deep respect for the people that have given their lives and their service to the military, but a deep, deep-rooted hatred for the military. And as we are descending into fascism, and this isn't hyperbole, in real time, this is happening in our nation's capital, In LA, there's been a music festival going on for the better part of, 2 months now. We don't have time for your complacency. We don't have time for your fear. We don't have time for your apathy. We don't have time for your negotiation. If you are being silent, you are a part of the problem. You will go down in history as having been a part of the problem. And depending on what you're doing with your life right now, you might be in a position to really make a difference. Start with our veterans. If you love America, prove it.
If you are homeless in Washington, D.C., get out! Fold up your boxes, get that extra sock, and get out of here. Come on. This is the United States Capitol. It cannot be run by convicts and criminals. The people last week robbed the lady, spit on her neck, said, "Feed you and Trump," and then ran off. We can't be having them calling in the National Guard to come clean up our streets. Everybody must go. Why would I implement a program to help homeless people? If they homeless, it's their fault. I'm not trying to help them. I just don't want to see them no more. I put together some charts. This is Biden's economy. This is mine. I'm huge. Who the hell made that time?
So guys, thank you for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my videos to help the channel out.